Rajesh, your objectives for this speech is to understand the purpose of stories about historical events or people, to use the stories telling skills developed in the preceding projects to tell a story about a historical event or person. The time allocated is 7 to 9 minutes. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Srini. All the best for you.
Thank you. The date is August 16th, 1946. Exactly a year from India's independence. The city is Calcutta. The negotiations between Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the president of the Congress Committee, and the president of Muslim League, Jinnah, failed. The idea of an undivided India was falling apart. And right at this moment, Jinnah calls for direct action. And Calcutta, being a stronghold of Muslim League, was the place to strike. And right when Jinnah called for direct action, violence ensued in Calcutta. For the next 3 days, anybody could kill anybody. The Muslims killed Hindus and Hindus killed Muslims. There is a particular documented story that is written that a jeweler, a Hindu jeweler, was caught in his store and the mob surrounded his store. He had locked the doors and he was scared beyond words, looking at the mob. And then he comes with his closed hands asking for apologizing for nothing at all. And right at this moment, a kid of 14 years pulls his leg. And the mob thrashed him. Beating his head with the rod, they killed him. And this is what this incident was repeated across Bengal, across the Calcutta city. For the next 3 days, 5,000 people were killed. Both on the other sides, both in the Hindu side and the Muslim sides. And this spread across Bihar. The violence spread across Bengal. It was taking over across India now. And at this moment, the peaceful man, the father of the nation, Gandhi, takes upon his responsibility and he starts his Padayatra. And he comes to Bengal and keeps motivating people to stop it and maybe peace is the solution. But the support for Gandhi starts dwindling. The Muslim majority feels that Gandhi is biased towards Hindus. So the people who used to come at his prayer meetings, both Hindus and Muslims, now is comprised of only Hindus. The non-Hindus have stopped coming. And right when Gandhi is to move to other village, his path was defiled with thorns and bones. People no more loved Gandhi. People felt that Gandhi was not for any other religion but Hindu. So Gandhi's idea, the incorrigible man who wanted an undivided India, his idea was failing too. And right at this moment when the violence is ensuing across the country, finally British announced that they are going to leave this country, this great nation, by June of 1948. And the man in charge they sent across is Lord Mountbatten, the last Viceroy of India. So Lord Mountbatten arrives in India in March 1947. And soon after arriving, he mingles with all the parties, calls upon all the heads of state, all the parties of the heads, and negotiations ensue. And after meeting Jinnah and Nehru, this is what he has to say. He says this to his daughter about Jinnah. That man is a cold-hearted man. So he cannot befriend Jinnah. Jinnah was always a cold-hearted man. He wanted Pakistan no matter what. But his friendship with Nehru went warm. And so luckily, because of this friendship, getting princely states into India wasn't a tough deal for Nehru. Though we had a lot of help from the Iron Man of India, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. So the violence ensued while these negotiations were taking place. And because there was political tension at the center, and people knew that no matter what, the country was going to be divided into India and Pakistan, this trickled down to the lower levels. And one of the states most affected was Punjab. Punjab at the time was one of the most rich states, one of the wealthiest provinces. And this trickled down to Punjab. The capital of Punjab being Lahore, then there was unsurety Lahore would fall into India's bucket or into Pakistan's bucket. So violence ensued even in Lahore. Lahore was majority Hindu majority city, and there was a lot of violence there. And this trickled down to a lot of cities, especially Muslims started attacking villages across Rawalpindi. And there is another documented story of a man called Bir Bahadur Singh. Now this old man documents this story saying that the following words. He says these following words. There was a man called Ghulam Rasool who came to our village. And he came with a mob of a lot of Muslims, and we were, given their crowd, we were nothing before them. And he asked for one girl to be given to him, and he would ensure that the masses would flee back. And taking upon my honor, my father took upon his honor that no woman of this village would be defiled or dishonored, all the women of the village were called upon. And they were put together, they were hidden. And finally, when the negotiations fell, when Ghulam Rasul wouldn't go away, my father called to my elder sister. He called upon, "Man beta, idhar aao." And after calling her, he took out a sword. He asked her to bend her neck, and he swung his sword. And it wouldn't cut her neck. The sword just got stuck in her neck. So he goes on to explain that my father took the sword again, and he swung harder this time, and her head would roll down to my feet. And all through the night, all we heard were the sound of khat, khat, khat. Every girl between the age of 10 and 14 was beheaded that night. And this incident was repeated across complete western Punjab, because it was upon their honor that they did not want any of one of their women to be dishonored, taken away, converted, and raped. So this ensured a further surge of violence across the country. And Nehru finally realized that his dream of an undivided India is not helping anymore. He saw that the power struggle, he saw that there was a lot of struggle downwards in the villages, in the suburbs. So he finally accepted to Jinnah, okay, I'm accepting your idea of a divided India. Let's get on to talks. So Lord Mountbatten calls both the parties, the Jinnah, and he calls upon Nehru. And they finally announce that there will be a divided India. There is a recorded speech on Air India where Jinnah announces the making of Pakistan, where Nehru announces that there will be a divided India, a prosperous India, and Lord Mountbatten announces that he's finally leaving this country with two countries. And right at this moment, Lord Mountbatten drops a bomb. He says that we're not leaving your country in June 1948. We will leave right 3 months from now. August 15, 1947 is when we leave. And then he was personally asked by his secretary, why are we rushing when there is violence across the country? When there is no organization, when there is no political stability in this country, and why are we leaving, why are we hurrying to leave? Lord Mountbatten mentions to him that, why should I stay? When this country is going to shatter, the Lord ordered upon my head, and all the responsibility would be mine. I don't want to take any. And slowly, the British troops were sent back. They did not want the British troops to be caught between two countries struggling, between the religious tension, between the political tension. And very, very incidentally, Lord Mountbatten, the British Empire, chooses to draw the borders of this great country, was a British barrister called Sir Cyril Radcliffe. Now this man has never been to the east of Paris. He has never been to the east of France at all. He's never seen India. He's never stepped on this country. And this man is chosen to draw a line, to finally charter the borders. So Radcliffe arrives in India 36 days before the partition. 36 days before the partition, before our independence, there was no India, there was no Pakistan. And Sir Radcliffe starts charting the lines. He uses the population. He starts using the river canals, the railway networks, taking all into this considerations. He starts charting the border. Imagine if you had that power. One sneeze and you could have taken the whole state to one country and the other country. That was the power that Radcliffe had. And when it was finally done, Sir Radcliffe finishes his bordering, all this chart map, just 6 days before 15th August, just 6 days before the country was announced to be an independent nation, he finalizes. And this is what he writes to his substan back in England. Nobody in India or Pakistan would love me for my award to Bengal and Punjab. There will be 80 million people affected by this, and they'll come looking after me. They'll come looking, with their parents, they'll come looking for me. And when that happens, I don't want to be here. And after this one, on August 14th, one nation was freed. A whole nation given to the Muslims. Now they could die for it, they could live for it. It was their choice. And right the next day, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, standing at the this Red Fort, announces India's independence with the following words: that right at the stroke of midnight, when the whole world sleeps, one country emerges towards freedom, towards life. And very, very incidentally, right when he hosted the flag, none of us knew what the border of this country was, because only Sir Radcliffe knew and Lord Mountbatten knew where Punjab ended, where Pakistan began, where India ended. So amongst this bloodshed, there have been millions of people died, millions of people lived. And we were told of our country's borders a week after our independence when Lord Mountbatten returned. So all I want to say is that there are millions of people who died for this great nation. There are millions of people who died for the Pakistan itself. But what we make, what we choose, is up to us. Over to you, Toastmaster.